Mike has owned this property for, I think, 12 years. I think he bought it 12, 13 years. And he's always been trying to figure out what to do with it. At one point, he wanted to do a conferencing hotel here for his company. And then he had some other ideas on hotels. He talked to lots of different hotel operators like Auberge and Marriott and International. And he never could find the right fit for it. And what was it, three years ago, he and David Perkins were talking, and David needed to build a new facility for his business because it was growing. And Mike said, why don't you come up here to Blue Sky and I'll build it for you and look at it. So they rode horses around and built the distillery. And it's been a tremendous success. And then Constellation bought, the big company bought High West. But in the meantime, he always wanted to do a hotel of some kind here. And when I met him 2.5 years ago, I just came down because we had some mutual friends, and he said he wanted some advice on what to do here, and he and I hit it off right away. And I thought it's a beautiful property, and we had the same ideas of what should happen here. So I quit Amman Resorts, which is, it's kind of not one of those things people do. It's like being in the NBA and then saying, I'm gonna go play softball.
So, you say that you had some ideas of what they should do. How do you make a property that's kind of outside of the Park City, tourist thing? How do you make it viable?
That's a really good question. So there's a couple of things about this place. One, it's a horse property, right? We have horses. It's a working ranch. And if you also build a luxury hotel and not a ranchy type thing, because there are lots of very high-end dude ranches, right? They're everywhere. They're all over the West. And there have been two types of products at the luxury level in the Rocky Mountains. You have the dude ranch thing, and you have places like Amangani and Amangiri and Four Seasons, St. Regis, Waldorf Astoria. But nobody has been able to combine both of those things to say, I'm going to build a luxury boutique hotel, but I'm also going to build it in a ranch type environment where you have horses, where you have adventures. And the reason that normally happens is because you don't have somebody that has 4,000 acres that says, well, I only want to build a small hotel here, and I want to do it, but I want to connect people to the West. I want to connect them to the horses. I want to connect them to the land. The other things we do out here, and then of course the distillery, which is a whole other aspect of this. And I realized that this was, when we were talking, when we were driving around the property, I thought to myself, this is exactly what the luxury market needs in the West. It needs a small luxury property on a lot of land that you can do your own adventures and be connected to the West. And as we were talking, I expressed these kinds of things, and he knew this innately, even though he didn't know that the market needed it.
Right.
He knew that this was important, that this is what you should have here. And so in the last 2 years, we've been developing this thing where we can build a beautiful small hotel with the services that you would find anywhere else in the world, but also be able to have all of this property around us with the horses, the shooting, the tented camps that we'll have up on the hill that's behind you, and mountain bike courses, snowshoeing, cross-country skiing. And one of the guys who is here tonight is Rusty Dazig, who owns the Park City heli ski operation, and he and I have been talking about relocating his operation out here so that we have heli ski.
Where would be into the Uintas or something?
Yeah, it, because he does all of his skiing out in the Uintas and the northern Wasatch over here, and this is an ideal location for him. And he's my neighbor. He just lives down the road from me, so it's a no-brainer for him.
Who's your guest? Like, when you think about it, who are the people that are going to want to ride their horses and shoot their guns and spend a lot of money?
Yeah, so, I mean, this is the guest that I've been after for 20 years. It's the same people. When I've lived in the U.S., it's been in the West, and when I've lived outside the U.S. in Bhutan or China, it's been that same sort of adventure-seeking luxury client. So they live in New York and Los Angeles and Chicago. I mean, if you ask who a typical guy is, it's a hedge fund guy. He works 90 hours a week. He's got 2 kids, and he wants to take them somewhere for an adventure. He wants to stay for a week. He wants to be able to go out, have everything that he expects in a hotel in New York, the services, the food, but then be able to be outdoors. That market, obviously it's a very small market. You know, it's $1,000 a night and up, but it's out there, and they're looking for stuff like this.
Would that $1,000 include then all the activities?
No,
it's all a cart on top of that.
Yeah, you got to pay for everything else too.
Interesting. And so then, will this restaurant turn into a breakfast, lunch, dinner kind of thing?
This one here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this will not be the restaurant for the hotel.
Okay.
We're building a separate restaurant for the hotel. We also have several other food and beverage operations that we have planned for around the property, so that you can, what we'd like to do, and your question was initially was, why not in Park City? How do you get people to come out here, because it's not a ski-in, ski-out property? Well, this is one of the things that I expressed to Mike in the very beginning. We will never be able to compete, and we won't want to compete with the people who are at those ski-in, ski-out luxury properties, right? That's not what we do. What we do is we offer a completely different experience, a whole adventure that's out here that doesn't have anything to do with just sliding up and down groomed runs in Park City, which is great, and a lot of people want to do that. This is a more adventure thing. We've got so much land out here, and you know, if it weren't spring, you'd have seen how much snow there was here a couple of weeks ago. We have a snowcat. We go snowcat skiing up here all the time. We go alpine touring skiing up here all the time. So these things, this is for the small percentage of clientele that wants a certain experience that's not the resort skiing experience.
And it wouldn't be accessible unless you're staying here?
For the most part. The distillery is a separate operation, so people will always be able to come up here and enjoy the distillery, take tours, eat in this restaurant. Our restaurant at the hotel will be pretty much exclusive to the guests that are staying there. Our spa will be exclusive. We built a sporting clays course out here. That will be for the guests only. And then everything else we do, guests only in the hotel.
When will it be open?
We, as you know, we broke ground half an hour ago. We're expecting an 18 to 20 month build, so we think it should be fall of 2018.
Is there snowmobiling too?
You know what? We don't do that kind of activity here. We don't do snowmobiling here because it's sort of loud and intrusive. Mm-hmm. We have a sort of a partner that's got another 3,000 acres about 10 miles from here, and he does snowmobile adventures. He brings his guests out here to shoot. We will take our guests out there to snowmobile. We have this partnership with him. So snowmobiling will be available, but not right on the property.